As I've said, $100,000 for Bitcoin is a big psychological number. I did not expect Bitcoin to blitz through this price and only hang out for a minute. I think Bitcoin's here for a long time at this 100K level. It kind of already has been, and I think it will continue to be. Listen, from a macro standpoint, I think the future of financial markets is relatively unknown, or at least I don't have a lot of confidence in the next 30 to 90 days. I think it's really certain over the next 12 months. Over the next 12 months, there's no way around it. The dollar has to get weaker. The dollar has to get weaker. We know that based on mathematics. We know that based on financial markets. We know that based on what Trump has been advocating for, what Bessent wants. I have as much conviction in a weaker dollar later on this year than I have in anything else. I'm very confident we have weaker dollar, especially once Trump gets in office.
As Bitcoin continues to generate news, Jack Mallers discusses the cryptocurrency's latest rise above $100,000. According to Mallers, this milestone is not only significant, but also demonstrates Bitcoin's long-term viability. Despite initial estimates that Bitcoin would remain around $100,000 for a long time, it has demonstrated surprising resiliency. Jack Mallers recognizes that the future of financial markets is unclear, especially in the short term. However, he is certain that the dollar will fall in the coming year due to a mix of mathematical, financial market, and policy considerations. This expected decrease in the dollar's value might have a huge impact on Bitcoin, potentially pushing up demand and prices. As we bring you clips from his recent discussion, please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks, and enjoy the video.
Some thoughts about the price. As I've said, $100,000 for Bitcoin is a big psychological number. I did not expect Bitcoin to blitz through this price and only hang out for a minute. I think Bitcoin's here for a long time at this 100K level. It kind of already has been, and I think it will continue to be. Listen, from a macro standpoint, I think the future of financial markets is relatively unknown, or at least I don't have a lot of confidence in the next 30 to 90 days. I think it's really certain over the next 12 months. Over the next 12 months, there's no way around it. The dollar has to get weaker. The dollar has to get weaker. We know that based on mathematics. We know that based on financial markets. We know that based on what Trump has been advocating for, what Bessent wants. I have as much conviction in a weaker dollar later on this year than I have in anything else. I'm very confident we have weaker dollar, especially once Trump gets in office and his policies start to get put in place. There's no doubt about that. The US dollar financial system and the global financial system will fall apart if the dollar strengthens. Weaker dollar, strong Bitcoin. Now, over the next 30 to 90 days, I have confidence in nothing. Why? Because who knows when Trump gets inaugurated, policies get put in place, people are going to disagree. Even today, the financial markets were trying to read Trump's headlines on tariffs. He came out and said, my tariffs are going to be all over the place. Wait, no, they're not. Yes, they are. No, they're not. Yes, they are. And markets are bouncing around. And I think we have to see, right? A campaign is not a presidency. Promises is not policy, right? And so I think the next 30 to 90 days, I expect a decent amount of volatility. I expect a decent amount of chop. I do think 100K is a big psychological number. It does not surprise me that Bitcoin's flirted with it both up and down. Let me give you guys a very useful quote in financial markets. Markets either scare you out or wear you out. Only the strong survive. That is my experience in Bitcoin. Bitcoin will either scare you out with massive gut-wrenching dips or crazy Washington, D.C. overregulation or Senator Warren debanking you. So Bitcoin could scare you out, and if it doesn't, it's going to try and wear you out. It's going to go, we're breaking 100, we're crashing. We're breaking 100K, we're crashing. We're breaking 100K, we're crashing. Only the strong survive. So I think where Bitcoin is today is a wear you out market. I think this election for the US was very emotional. I think markets are a little exhausted and fatigued. I think Bitcoin might try and wear you out by up and down and up and down and SBR. Oh no, Trump lied. Oh, Trump said this about tariffs. Oh no, he took it back. And I wouldn't be surprised if this market didn't start to get serious legs in Q2. That's my dollar bill impression. That's the best I got at being my father. Is 100K seems to be a net magnet. Markets love round numbers. Why? Because markets are made up of humans. Humans are comprised of emotions, okay? Markets love round numbers. Markets are emotional. 100K is a big round number. It's a big psychological event. It's adding a new digit. It's going to flirt with it. It's going to be attracted to it. It's going to be a magnet towards it. And I think between a scare you out and a wear you out, I think Bitcoin is trying to wear people out. Over Christmas, it was just 90K. Now it's back at 100. What's going on? I still think Bitcoin goes to 250K to $1 million this year. This year. Call me crazy, but they called me crazy when I said 100K in 2024. Turned out not to be so crazy. Okay, in other news, the FDIC releases unredacted letters using banks to avoid Bitcoin activities. So, in a rare event, Coinbase, shout out Coinbase. Someone clipped this and put it on Twitter. When was the last time I shouted out Coinbase? Newsflash, maybe never. Maybe never. Shout out Coinbase because it was their legal work that forced the FDIC to release letters that support Operation Choke Point 2.0. So we know that there was an active, unconstitutional effort to debank the crypto industry, specifically Bitcoiners in the Bitcoin industry. I was involved in that. Strike got debanked many of times. We got kicked off of Chase. We were treated unfairly. It was unconstitutional. It was not fought. We were not breaking any laws. Okay. And for those that don't know, there are now unredacted versions of these documents that you can read for yourself. It's at fdic.gov. I will put it here in the YouTube chat for you guys to check out. That is true. It is a rare Coinbase W, but enough about Coinbase. Shout out Coinbase legitimately. I really appreciate this work. I genuinely do. This is great work. And I think it just goes to show how absolutely insane this was. From the highest levels of government, our industry was being suppressed. They were stripping away the livelihood of our industry, of Bitcoiners, not letting our companies interoperate and exist financially. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane.
According to Jack Mallers, Bitcoin's price going above $100,000 represents a huge psychological breakthrough. He was surprised by how rapidly Bitcoin reached this level, observing that it didn't even pause at $100,000. Mallers believes Bitcoin will remain at this level for a long time, with its price fluctuating. Mallers stated that the macroeconomic outlook for financial markets is uncertain, particularly in the next 30 to 90 days. However, he pointed out that the US dollar will undoubtedly decline over the next 12 months due to mathematical and financial market reasons, as well as measures promoted by Trump and others. Mallers predicted that the dollar's weakness would boost Bitcoin's value. According to Mallers, the relationship between the US dollar and Bitcoin is inversely proportional, with a stronger dollar often lowering Bitcoin's value. He also said that the market's reaction to Bitcoin price changes would be important, referencing Coinbase's legal efforts that forced the FDIC to issue letters supporting Operation Choke Point 2.0. Jack Mallers praised Coinbase's efforts to expose this unconstitutional attempt to crush the cryptocurrency industry. He acknowledged that the cryptocurrency business had encountered major challenges, such as debunking and unconstitutional crackdowns. Mallers noted that the industry's persistence and determination had enabled it to overcome these challenges. Let's watch more clips from Jack Mallers' discussion and gain insights.
If this country does not protect my rights, we have nothing. We have nothing. The fact that my government at its highest form and level was trying to deprive me of my livelihood because I was interested in Bitcoin is absolutely insane. The United States of America, its citizens, its businesses, the new administration should stand for none of that. That is utter and complete horseshit. Utter and complete horseshit. Everybody should read these documents and see for yourself. It is blasphemy that we are dealing with this in the United States of America. That is, by definition, unconstitutional to the highest degree. To the highest degree. You are out of your mind. I mean, sometimes I cannot believe it. I cannot believe where the world has gotten to. I've given this thesis before in the past where I think humanity is very cyclical. And throughout these cycles, I think we get very far abstracted from nature, meaning our true selves, where we belong. Our relationship with nature is very important. Hang with me. I know I sound crazy, but hold on. It's going to be a good point. Our relationship with nature is very important in that we are governed by the immutable laws of the universe, the immutable laws of Mother Nature, okay? Being on a gold standard was exactly that. Who governed our monetary policy on the gold standard? Mother Nature, the universe, right? Now, what we see in humanity throughout history is as we innovate and we build tools, right? We're tool builders. We're very uniquely capable of coordinating, planning, and building a better tomorrow. In other news, Saylor keeps buying Bitcoin. Saylor keeps buying Bitcoin. Big deal. I don't know. This point is tired. For new Bitcoiners, everyone wants to talk about Saylor. I'm happy to talk about Saylor, but for those listening to the show, we talk about Saylor, once a week because he buys Bitcoin once a week. Saylor's the man. I think he's a genius. I'm lucky to call Saylor a friend. He's awesome. And he bought more Bitcoin. Really, to me, the story of Saylor is Bitcoin meets fixing income. That's the story. Bitcoin has entered the bond market, okay? The amount of capital in these markets, okay? And how that capital can be produced, the depth in its liquidity is unparalleled. Something I want to say to you guys, oftentimes what we talk about in Bitcoin is there's a word that we use all the time. It's called a rotation, okay? Meaning there's a certain amount of money in housing, and there's a certain amount of money in equities, and there's a certain amount of money in the bond market. And we talk about that capital rotating into Bitcoin, okay? You've probably heard me talk about this prior, where you say, there's $900 trillion worth of stuff in the world. There's no doubt you've seen me rant about this on someone's clipped it on Twitter or something, right? Where I say there's $900 trillion worth of stuff in the world, meaning $900 trillion worth of real estate that people own, and equities, and bonds, and art, and collectibles, and precious metals, right? And the sum total of stuff that people own in the world is about $900 trillion. And what we've talked about a lot is the rotation of that capital. Is that when people realize that buying 20 houses to store your money is a lot worse than just buying one house that you actually live in and a bunch of Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin's going to go up more. It's better at preserving and storing that wealth, right? And that's called a rotation, where we see capital rotating out of certain asset classes like real estate or like equities and like bonds. Okay. What's interesting about what Saylor's doing is he's tapping into capital that isn't necessarily rotating. It's being printed. Okay. When you're dealing with fixed income markets and when you're dealing with bond markets, these markets, they're not necessarily selling something they own to buy Bitcoin. They're going to their banks, to their financiers, and they're getting a loan to buy these instruments that Saylor has. And that's what's really, really interesting about what he's doing, is that you're not asking the market to sell assets they have and rotate, is the word that we've used, into Bitcoin. That's happening. That's still happening. I'm rotating capital into Bitcoin. When I get money from my business, it goes straight into Bitcoin. That's going to continue to happen. But what Saylor's doing is he's unlocking an entire new market, an entire new liquidity pool, an entire new capital base. And what happens when people finance these Bitcoin-backed bonds or these fixed income instruments that Saylor has, they are able to effectively print money from thin air to buy these things from their massive banks and partners and those brokering the deal. So anyway, if you guys have any questions on that, let me know. But what Saylor's doing is very good for Bitcoin. He's tapping into a market that needs access to Bitcoin that doesn't have it. He's delivering a variety of different fixed income products. And I think it's tremendous. I think the momentum that we see in businesses buying Bitcoin and hopping on the Bitcoin standard will only grow. Strike is admittedly on the Bitcoin standard. Our entire balance sheet and our revenues, we operate entirely on Bitcoin. We are a Bitcoin generating company every single day. I own more Bitcoin by running Strike. And I think that will continue to happen. The best performing stocks in 2024, the best performing equities were all Bitcoin equities. I mean, NVIDIA was slotted in there somewhere, but MicroStrategy and all of the similar businesses.
Jack Mallers was outraged when the US government tried to strip him of his livelihood because of his connection with Bitcoin. He pointed out that this action is unlawful and violates the ideals of individual liberty. Mallers emphasized that all citizens, businesses, and the next administration should oppose such acts. Mallers also explored the concept of rotation, in which capital shifts from traditional assets such as real estate and bonds to Bitcoin. He stated that investors are growing more faith in Bitcoin's potential, as indicated by the good performance of Bitcoin-related stocks in 2024. Mallers believes that this movement will continue as more investors look to diversify their portfolios and protect against inflation. Saylor's aspirations to enter the fixed income sector by issuing Bitcoin-backed bonds were also emphasized. Mallers noted that this innovation creates a new market and grants access to Bitcoin to those who would not have had it otherwise. By leveraging existing fixed income market infrastructure, Saylor can offer investors a new asset class that combines the benefits of Bitcoin with the stability of traditional bonds. Bitcoin's momentum is growing, with more investors embracing the Bitcoin standard. Mallers' own company, Strike, operates entirely on Bitcoin and has seen significant growth. He thinks that this trend will continue, with more organizations following suit as they strive to lessen their dependence on traditional currencies and make use of Bitcoin's decentralized nature. Mallers also remarked that humanity is cyclical in nature, with society frequently getting detached from nature and the unchanging rules of the universe. He proposed that Bitcoin can help restore this relationship by offering a more natural and decentralized form of cash. Mallers pointed out that Bitcoin is more than just a store of value. It also serves as a medium of exchange, facilitating worldwide trade and commerce. Mallers also emphasized the value of financial independence and the need for individuals to have control over their own financial lives. He believes that Bitcoin is an effective vehicle for achieving this freedom and that its decentralized structure makes it immune to censorship and manipulation. Do you think governments will continue to try to suppress Bitcoin, or will they eventually embrace it as a legitimate form of currency? Please drop your thoughts in the comments below, share this video, and hit your thumbs on the like button. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.